We're in a rush, we're in a rush. Yes, of course. Hello to you all, and welcome to another great Radio Day session here at Radio Days. I'm very happy you have chosen for this session, because it's the best session. In this session, we are all commercial radio, and we eat what we kill. If we don't succeed in making a killing, then unfortunately, we go hungry. The past few years have not been so kind to advertise to commercialize side of radio, and it's becoming harder and harder to remain viable and I can't say that word. The sustainability of radio stations. It's always easier to write than to talk, eh? Well, maybe radio DJs thinks otherwise. Of radio stations is becoming a bigger and more pressing issue, and all this is before we consider posting a profit. Consolidation, mergers and buyouts are almost as common now as a new radio station launches were in the 90s. But despite the decline in available revenue during the recession, the emergence of new technologies, the growth in advertising opportunities, the perceived attraction of social media to ad agencies, the impact of COVID-19 and the Brexit, some radio stations or radio groups are still managing to make money. How they are doing that? I hear you ask. Well, why don't I shut up and listen to 3 more or less trade bodies and industry bodies who are going to tell you what the tips and the tricks are to retrieve more money from the industry. First on stage, I would like to welcome Patricia Sonius. She's Head of Research and Development at STER. It's the commercial side of the public broadcasters in the Netherlands. And she's a proud board member of Audify, and Audify is the industry body in the Netherlands. Please welcome her on stage, Patricia Sonius.
Thank you, Liedewij. I'm really excited to be here again and talk to you about the greatest medium there is, radio. Although, to be honest, there are some really bad habits going on in the advertising industry for radio for years, where radio or audio only gets about 5% of advertisers' media spend. Consumers listen over 40% of their medium time to audio. In other words, there's a huge gap to fill. And on top of that, brands have not fully embraced the world of sound yet. They have not created their own iconic sound. In fact, 80% of the brands are simply on mute. My name is Patricia. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Liedewij. And I'm here to talk to you about how Audify, the former radio advertising bureau in the Netherlands, is turning this tide, is breaking through these bad habits. And for that, I want to take you back to the 4th of February 2020, where I had dinner with the other 3 board members of, at that time, the Radio Advertising Bureau Netherlands, and we looked each other in the eye, asking ourselves the question, are we really happy with the way things are going in the radio advertising business? And to be honest, are we happy of what the trade body is doing to change this? And the answer was clearly no. We saw revenues declining, and we didn't see any positive change in the foreseeable future. That evening, we took a leap of faith. We canceled all the RAB's activities for the coming year. And mind you, that was just before COVID hit. In the end, everything was cancelled, of course. We really started collaborating with each other. We really said, okay, we have to invest heavily to reposition and reorganize the trade body. That evening marked the birth of Audify. So how are we breaking through these habits? And the session before us, it was said before already, collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. We only compete where we have to and collaborate as much as we can, so we can all get a piece of this bigger pie we're baking. And we come from an area where we have been defending radio as a medium type. defending the fact that the listeners don't listen as much to the radio as they used to, defending the fact that, yeah, there are still youngsters listening to the radio stations, and defending its advertising power against television. No longer. We're now building aspirational stories to create the desire for brands to be part of this amazing domain. And last, we're not longer sticking to what we know, radio advertising, but we're really becoming part of the future and really embracing audio in the full domain. Let me take you through in a little bit more detail. The world is full of sound. Hearing is the fastest sense. You hear faster than you touch, smell, and even see. Sound triggers both brain parts. On the rational part, it really grabs your attention, and on the emotional part, it links emotion to the sound. And that is why a sonic identity is as powerful as a visual one. A sonic identity can enhance brand recall, ad recall, increases brand fit, and triggers more associations and therefore build mental availability. But with 80% of the brands on mute, there's a huge potential out there. And that is why at Audify we raised the question, how does your brand sound? And we take brands on a path to discover their own iconic brand sound, just like we did, as you just heard. And raising our discussions with our customers and potential customers to a far more strategic level and going away from practicalities is really raising the bar for audio and therefore increasing ad sales. And this question is at the heart of the new positioning of the trade body. How does your brand sound? With on the one hand, the promise that audio works, and we measure audio and the full domain and all the platforms and all the technology. We also promise that audio touches you, and we unlock psychological insights to prove this. Because in the end, sound is the brand asset that really strengthens your brand. And we all know this. And for everyone here in this room, this sounds familiar, right? But doing research among our customers and potential customers, we discovered that it is not that clear to them. In fact, audio and radio advertising is not hot among up-and-coming media and marketing professionals. Their knowledge is scattered, fragmented, and below par. And that is why at Audify we are now building a highly professional audio academy with accreditation. We have an independent agency helping us to ensure the credibility and the professionalism of this course. We're building an e-learning platform, making it easy for our audience to navigate through the courses. And we are working together with HR departments of media agencies and advertisers to ensure a high reach. With the Audify Audio Academy, that takes a while, we are increasing the audio knowledge, and with that, the audio spend. As said, we are embracing the audio domain fully. But in fact, we've not been measuring the full audio domain. We've only been measuring linear radio listening behavior. And that's been changed. Since 2021, next to the GRP currency, we are now measuring also the streaming and podcast and audio on demand, making it easy for everyone to incorporate podcasts and audio on demand in their media plans. We just launched a tool that can easily compare all the stations, all the content with each other. And the result, 135% increase in digital ad sales in 2021, and we really expect this double-digit year-on-year growth for the foreseeable future. But there's not only innovation in the audio domain. We all know that radio is a fantastic medium to generate a high reach and a high contact frequency in a small period of time. But it's often hard to put numbers against that. And for a highly understanding and growing category, e-commerce, it's extremely important to do that. That is why we're now combining broadcaster data with advertiser data and use attribution tools to gain insight in the uplift on website traffic for radio campaigns. This is what we call direct response radio. Not only do we give insight in the actual uplift of a radio campaign, we also give the tools to optimize a next campaign. You have an insight on which day of the week works best for your brand and your product service. What time of the day, which channels, and in case of multiple creation, which spot works best, which spot generates the highest uplift in my website traffic. How did we do that? Well, first and foremost, at Audify, we made sure that every radio station timestamps the radio ads per second. Because if you want to gain insight in the direct response, you have to be very, very precise. Since 2021, every ad at every radio station has been timestamped on a second. Audify determined the market potential of all the e-commerce clients and transferred those leads to the individual sales houses. Next to that, Audify determined the quality of the attribution tools and build cases and benchmarks, and with that, give advice to potential clients and also towards the sales houses. And we tell and show this direct response story on different podia and share it with potential clients. So that's a lot of projects to talk to you about in only 10 minutes, but I hope you can take away that, yes, it is possible to grow your advertising business for radio by fully embracing the audio domain. We have the ambition to go to a 7% share of media spends for audio. And I hope you took away that, first and foremost, it's important that you collaborate with each other. Install a firm board for your trade body who has the mandate and the balls to make investment in the audio business. And that not only is important for commercial purposes, but if you collaborate, you can also find each other in other great things that might happen. In the Netherlands, we had Radio 555, where a full day, all the music stations broadcasted simultaneously, collaborated to raise money for Ukrainian refugees. And in the end, we raised $60 million euros together. Find out where the knowledge gaps in your industry are and fully embrace the world of sound. Be bold enough to ask your customers, how does your brand sound? And elevate your discussions to a far more strategic level. Where radio might have its limits, audio certainly does not. The future is endless, and so are its advertising possibilities. So embrace the newest forms of advertising for audio. Provide insight into the attribution of radio campaigns on website traffic. Because with that, we're not only embracing the future, but we are part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia, and I will. Questions can be wait till the end. Now, next, after this perfect revenue story, I would like to ask Stefan Miller on stage. Maybe you have seen him yesterday morning. You were in the opening speech as well. And I hear you got a great radio voice after last night.
After last night.
Yes.
Definitely.
And we all know Steven. Steven is, you work for, of course, you're president of the
Association of European Radios, yes.
Yes, the
based in
commercial
Brussels.
ones. And you have another job.
My other job, my other hat is to be the CEO of Radio Media in Finland, which is the trade body for commercial radio in Finland. But in history, I also been working at radio station, building up radio stations. I've been so long in the radio history, I'm embarrassed to tell.
Well, tell us about the future.
I will tell you about the future. Thank you, Patricia. After that presentation, I can say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the dullest presentation in the history of Radiodays Europe. Yes, we increased our revenues, and there was no magic trick to it in Finland. But it doesn't mean that the industry didn't do anything. It was a lot of work. Of course, in 2020, we were all like hit by what is happening, what is really going on. And the key thing is, I think, that the industry continued to deliver the message how strong radio is. What are the benefits? But then there was one additional that goes well with Patricia here. Think audio, not only radio. And we have two big companies in Finland that has almost 90% of the market, Bauer Media and Sanoma, and they both have their own audio strategy. And they help the clients to think audio, to get audio into the brand book. And I see that that's crucial and key to think broader also than radio, without forgetting the benefits of radio. I share with you some facts what happened in Finland. When the pandemic hit us in 2019, we had 6 years in a row of growth, a total of 33%. 2020, the market generally went down by 11%. Radio went down by 20%. Okay, we had a good representation of travel and events, which all went to zero, so they cut down all the advertising. That was one part of it. But the good thing was the radio industry didn't cut down, didn't get shocked, continued to come out with new brands, new audio formats, new stations, and just pushed forward in a normal way. And in order for you also to understand, we have a different, well, maybe not like every market, but in many markets, commercial radio is maybe not that strong as it is in Finland. We've been for years almost 50-50 with the public service broadcaster. So it's a strong thing. Radio together with the public broadcaster is very strong in Finland. And I think it's a mutual thing in other markets also, that we have the younger demographics. And then when people get old like me, they start to listen to public service broadcast. No, not necessary. But they have the plus 55 anyway. Very committed audience. They are listening to an average of 1.4 radio stations per day. And even if there are a lot of options in every area we have almost 30 radio stations to listen to. And that's under 3 stations, 2.5 per day. And radio is still the strongest audio format in Finland, like in many markets, even if they have new audio formats coming up and possibilities doing that. What the industry did, which I'm very thankful, we helped as a trade body, of course. We were much on the lobbying side, interest protection, talking with the government of getting support. But also supporting, of course, our members and working together, communicating the normal things. The radio is with you every day. It lives with you every day. The only thing that changed, really, was during the pandemic, that the peak hour radio had in Finland was before 8 o'clock in the morning. It changed to 9 o'clock in the morning. People were apparently starting the day a little later. So, no magical tricks. We just repeated the benefits of radio and keeping up the radio's top of mind. And the industry kept on working steadily and helped new clients to take the step into the audio world. So continuous development of audio formats and new radio stations and helping the clients, I think that's the key issue. So that goes well with what Patricia said here. And we didn't stop, the industry didn't stop to talk to clients, to arrange seminars, events. It only went online. And in some of those webinars, we had even more people than during normal times because it was so easy to cut in online. So for media agencies, for example, we reached out much more, or got more media agencies than usual. I failed to upload a Finnish great commercial of a company called Puuilo, which is a retailer, a little broader thing than a retailer. It's also free time goods and so on. But they started basically from nothing. Nobody at first knew about them. They started with radio and audio, invested in doing a good song, audio branding, thinking audio first. And now, you know, it's a good example for other companies because when they come in and talk to radio, say, we want to have something like Puuilo. And then you can get in and talk to the whole way how to do that and how to work with them. So, and they have, of course, won every single award that you can do during last year in Finland. And just so you know, some figures here are the growth figures for the main industries. In Finland, retail grew by 86%, cars by 50%, and food by 45%. I had to pick in here the biggest advertisers we had during last year, and the first one is a hamburger chain, and the second one, which is the biggest one, is kind of embarrassing. It's I don't know if it's embarrassing or no. It's an online service, kaalimato.com, which is selling sexual toys, sex things, AIDS, things like that. Not AIDS, sexual aid things. Sorry. And so apparently Finns were home alone a lot and had a lot of safe sex with themselves. So, but that really grew from nothing, invested in audio, and was the biggest advertiser in radio in Finland. So I don't have the points listed out here, but what I said, go into audio to think audio with your client, to think over the radio thing, because they need audio, they need to think audio, they have use also for the audio in other medias and whatever they do, and that benefits also radio. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan.
Julian.
And now on stage, am I here? Do you hear me? I can talk loud. Please, welcome the CEO of Radiocentrale on stage, Juliane Hensen, as the third one of tips and tricks how to increase your revenue. But did you?
Bad news, I'm wrong here. Because we didn't increase our revenue. So I finished now, go home again. No, we didn't. We hold the revenue. But why? Because the German radio market is very, very local. We do not have any nationwide stations, and close to that, we have a lot of advertisers, regional one, smaller one, shops around the corner, and a lot of events, and they were closed, so no need to communicate. Of course, we had also big advertisers like discounters, and they increased, but it didn't fit to increase the revenue overall. So, but now we are in the last year, and we thought about what can we do to increase our revenue. And the first thing we thought about, what is the USP of radio in this situation? And the situation was, you all know that, loneliness, confusion, and fake news. And we wondered, what is the USP in this situation? First of all, trust. Trust. You can trust your radio. You can trust that there is a companion when you wake up in the morning being alone. You have the right information for your area, no fake news and no fake reach. The next one, confidence. We have the right song when you feel bad, and you can be sure that we organize help when you need any help in your area. And the next one, I can't say, indispensability. Sorry, hard word. So, home office without radio, not possible. Banana bread baking without Caribbean songs, not yummy. And all this means radio is a friend. You all know that, but we wanted to talk about those things because it's the time for those USPs. And it is wonderful things to talk about with the press, in interviews, in presentations, but it's only soft skills. Now, the next step was we had to think about finding out some USPs for the media agencies, for the advertisers, some more hard facts, some more media skills. So, the situation was, you know all that, shops were closed, sometimes they were open, they were closed. So the first thing, the first USP, flexibility. We never talked about flexibility before. Flexibility in, you can book it very, very quick. And you can cancel it very, very quick. Yeah? To be flexible also in what you tell. So the next one, sales booster. You know all that. This, when you have radio ads, then the shop runs, no problem. So sales booster, and the last one, spot motives. It was, we had a time you need to have another tonality, nothing like come in and find out and it's cheap and so on. It was another tonality. And it was quite easy to get new spot motifs. They are cheap and they are quick to produce. And of course, the situation changed every week. So sometimes you needed something else to talk about. So that were the media skills. But now we had to prove all that. That was the thing we wanted to communicate, but what's about the proof? The first thing, trust in media. We asked, which media do you trust most? And we found out, first here, public TV, number 1, and radio, number 2, better than print. And the best thing we found out, and the younger ones here on this side, under 50 years old, they trusted most radio. And that was happy to see, not only as a sales staff, but also that as a mother, it wasn't social media. So the next one, the thing I can't say, indispensability of the medium, we asked, when you are allowed only to use one media the next 2 weeks, what would you choose? And happy to say it was radio. Radio was the number 1 and a great thing we talked a lot about, of course. So, media skills, the proof, reach. What happened to the reach during the pandemic year 22? So we see here the beginning of its index 100. Everything was okay in February. And what you see are the online audio reach. Do you know that curve? It is like the incidence, it's like the COVID curve. Yeah? In summer, we meant we finished the pandemic, and the online audio reach going down. People went out, went back to the offices, and then in November we learned, no, and the reach increased a lot. proof of the sales booster. You know all that. It's the return on investment. €1 for radio advertising makes €7 more revenue for the discounter. That's nothing new, but the new thing we did, our initiative was to use this for the local stores, for the smaller stores, for all the stores that serve us. And of course, we did it more than ever together with all the radio stations. We had a lot of webinars with them and lead them through this time. Okay, now we have all our USPs found, and now we have to bring them to the street, we say in German, to bring them to their clients. What we did. First of all, we started a sales radio campaign, but not our normal radio campaign. It was a radio campaign with a target group for the smaller clients, for the shops around the corner, for the services and so on. And the slogan was, wenn's im Radio läuft, dann läuft der Laden. That means when your spots run on the radio, the stores will run. So when I'm happy, you can hear it. There were quite funny motifs, 5 different spots we had, and a call to action to come to our website, where you can find a lot of radio facts. Nothing for the normal agencies, but for the local clients. So hopefully you can hear it.
Hallöchen, ich bin Bärbel Schneider von Bärbels Boutique.
Und Werbeprofi ist die Bärbel auch. Bärbel, du hast eine Idee, wie du Kunden anlockst.
Das kam durch einen Tipp von unserem kleinen Internetsprofi, dem Julius. Mutti, sagt er, für gezielte Werbung brauchst du Cookies. Ja, und jetzt verteile ich die an meine Kunden.
Guten Tag.
Hallo, junge Frau.
Ja?
Ich hätte einen Cookie für Sie.
Oh, danke.
Bärbels Boutique verwendet Haselnuss-Cookies zum Zweck gewerblicher Maßnahmen und um ihre Nutzerfahrung zu...
Okay, nobody can understand it, so it's about cookies and using cookies in the wrong way, yeah? Not eating, but using it for advertising. So we spreaded the campaign on all radio stations, and of course we had an enormous reach with that. So the next thing we did was we did everything like we do every year. We did our radio advertising summit. But this time we thought a lot about the slogan we choose this year. And the slogan was prime time for audio, because we think that the pandemic time was really the prime time for audio, not only for radio, but for audio. We talked a lot about podcasting, the podcasting reach increased a lot. And everything we talked about is why audio is the media of this moment we have now. So what we didn't do a normal congress, starting digital in the morning and end in the evening. What we did was 4 weeks content campaign, not a conference. We had an alliance with the media magazines, with a lot of articles about audio. We had 4 live streams, we had a lot of webinars, we had presentations on demand, we had a white paper and so on. So we wanted to have 4 weeks, audio weeks for all our agencies and for all our advertisers. And prime time for audio, and we used all the USPs you saw, and even more. So, I'm too fast. Okay, but now we have 22, a new year, and we thought about new USPs we want to talk about. Let the pandemic behind us, and we ask ourselves, what is the theme of the moment? And the theme of the moment we found out is responsible marketing. We are talking about the carbon footprint for advertising. And as you see here, it is the left side, it's the carbon footprint of 10,000 contacts with a radio ad. And here you see 10,000 contact with a newspaper. Then you have 67 kilogram carbon emission, and radio only has 1 kilo. But we do not talk only about the footprint, but we also do something. Our public radio stations in Germany started this year to compensate the carbon emission for every spot they send out for their advertisers. They pay for it. And when we talk about the green GRP, we are called this, and when we talk about responsible marketing, it's not only the carbon footprint, it's also trust. You remember our favorite thing, trust in media, trust in brand safety. You can be sure that your brand is safe in our media. No fake news and no fake contacts. And nowadays, responsible media also means not using media with Russian investments. So that is what we talk about this year, and thank you.
Well, thank you all three. I do have one question left. Yesterday I was here on the stage, and there was this guy who talked about the digital planner, and the digital planner doesn't know anything about GRPs. The digital planner he's very lazy, he said, and he only wants to buy audience. He's absolutely doesn't care about trust in the medium. He doesn't care about the brand of the medium. He just wants to buy audiences. So how did you deal with that, Juliana, during your digital summit, which took many weeks?
Yeah. They can buy. Yeah, no problem. Online audio, no problem. But we also discussed with them, is it the right way and the right media to go on with to be in with your brand?
Okay. What we I will ask Patricia the same question. Yeah. We did a whole customer journey thing for actually in media agency, where does audio money comes from? And it turns out in our customer journey that the planner from the old days, well, is absolutely fond of radio, of audio, embraces everything, but the digital planner doesn't have a history in radio, don't know the brand assets, don't know about every availability of it, and don't know about GRPs. So the way digital audio is planned is such different from the way original audio is planned, that we really have now two lines. Of course, in business, it goes about software, but it goes about the story as well. That's one of the reasons we started the Audio Academy. And, well, referring to the guy yesterday on stage, it was, he said, they are lazy, make it easy for them, they only buy audience per CPM. So maybe we should listen to that as well and offer that to them. I'm looking at the time, because... Yes, I think, sorry, it's very hard to see in sponsored light. Is there any question from out of the audience to this three trade or industry bodies? Lucy, from an industry body herself.
Hi, Lucy Barrett from Radio Centre in London. My question's for Julianne. Yeah. So it's about the carbon calculator. You know what I'm going to ask you. I want to know, number one, how it's done. If you have some rough detail on that, because I think it's really interesting. And number two, is there something that advertisers are asking for in the German market?
Okay, first of all, how it is done. It is done by an agency called Mediaplan. They made it by their own, and they... organized all the emission together with a partner, with climate partners, and they needed a lot of things about how many cars and what's about how many computers and all the things like this, yeah? But they only measured not what the radio stations need, they only measured what the contact, when you deliver out an advertising, yeah, a spot.
Broadcasting
yeah,
of
a broadcasting, yeah. They only measured what, how many carbon you need for this.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, and of course, the goal is not only to have a wonderful marketing thing. It's also the goal is to decrease your carbon footprint.
Yeah, it's a great way forward.
And there was another question. Yes, the German
Are the
market.
advertisers asking for it?
Yeah. They start to ask for that. We just had the Radio Advertising Summit live 2 weeks ago, and one of our themes was responsible marketing. And a lot of agencies start, like Ubiquity, to ask for that, but. Okay, the public stations started to pay for the carbon footprint, and I think at the moment it's a marketing trick, yeah? But it's going on to be a real thing they ask for. Okay,
Thank you. Are there any other questions out of the audience over here?
Hello, Cas Adriani from Fluxbox Metadata Radio. I got a question. We all know radio is evolving, and we also see, for example, visualization is not something of the future, but in receivers and in the automotive industry, visualization is actually already highly possible. I hear statements like, if you're not on the radio, your brand is muted. But actually, I think a lot of radio advertisements on the radio are put in the dark. So why don't combine it and use visualization together with audio advertisements to increase your revenue much more? Because I think you can earn more money and use this technology.
Yes. Well, first of all, the statement that brands are on mute is based on the fact that they don't have a sonic identity. Meaning they don't have a sonic logo, they don't have the same voice, the same music behind their radio spots or any type of communication they might have. That's the 80% of the brands are on mute. Secondly, I do think you're raising an interesting question, and within the board of Audify, we're, for example, discussing how we can combine spots on the radio with with outdoor, sorry. I was looking for an English word, but it is already English and Dutch. So with outdoor advertising, actually exactly what you're saying, combining radio spots with outdoor advertising, so combining sound with visual. So that's actually one of the topics we are discussing within the board. We are building a cross-media audience measurement at the moment in the Netherlands, not including outdoor at the moment, but discussions are on a high level to include that as well, to be able to cross-sell that together. So it's definitely a discussion going on, but we don't have any proof or projects to show you yet.
Okay. I think we all want to have some lunch after those increasing revenue stories. I would like to thank Stefan, Juliana, and Patricia to be up stage. I would like to thank you. And please come back after lunch, because we've got a lot of more, well, at least one more to go with James Gritland. After lunch, 1:45. Be here. Thank you very much.